Ignored my pregnant ex, dated someone new, lied for months, and now she barely trusts me even after therapy. I don't even know where to begin. I'm 29, and looking back at everything, I'm honestly disgusted with how things happen with Anna, my ex. When she was pregnant with our kid, I got so scared that I just disappeared. I cut off all communication with her for months while she was carrying our child. Anna was devastated. She'd message me, call me, and I just ignored her. Now, when I think about it, the guilt is overwhelming. When she was about 8 months pregnant, I finally mustered up the courage to talk to her again. She tried to forgive me. We didn't get back together, but we started talking every day, as if maybe we'd repair what we had. During that time, I was the best man at my childhood friend's wedding, and that's where I met his sister, Sarah. She was incredible, funny, beautiful, kind. I started seeing her, too, without saying a word to Anna. A little over a month after I started seeing Sarah, Anna gave birth to our son. And here's where I'm most ashamed, I only saw my son once, right there in the hospital. Anna believed I was still in love with her, that maybe we'd find our way back to each other. I never did anything to discourage her. Honestly, I let her think that because part of me wanted both worlds, I kept seeing her, while also dating Sarah. Sarah thought I was a good dad, that I was involved. I lied and told her Anna was just a bitter, resentful ex. For months, I played them both, telling each of them different stories. Meanwhile, Anna was going through severe postpartum depression, so intense she was hospitalized for it. About a month before Anna's hospitalization, I stopped seeing Sarah and asked Anna to be my girlfriend again. She was so happy, so relieved, I remember the light in her eyes. After a few weeks, though, I started seeing Sarah again, behind Anna's back. When Anna was in the hospital, I spent my nights with Sarah, drinking, having sex. Sarah eventually found out something wasn't right. One night, she went through my phone and found all my texts with Anna. She took photos of them, woke me up, and confronted me. She left immediately and went no contact. A week later, Anna was released from the hospital. In that time, she'd been diagnosed with postpartum depression, borderline personality disorder from past sexual trauma, and PTSD. She'd started medication and seemed better, on the surface. But then Sarah found her on Snapchat and TikTok. She messaged her, sent her proof of what I'd done. Anna was destroyed, horrified, betrayed, broken. She told me later that I had made an already unbearably dark time so much harder. She spiraled into deep depression again. Whenever I broke up with her, she'd become suicidal. I told myself I wanted to be alone, that I didn't love her anymore. It sickens me to think about how I acted. Eventually, I sought out therapy. I was told I have severe depression, anxiety, and possibly BPD. Suddenly, so much about how I behaved made sense. After a few sessions, it hit me, what a monstrous mistake I'd made. I'd let my depression and insecurity push someone I loved into the darkest place of her life. I had treated Anna terribly, no excuses. So, I swallowed my pride, reached out, and begged her to give me one more chance. She did. But now, everything's different. Anna always seems tense, apologizing for the smallest things, constantly on edge. When we're together, she still laughs and smiles, but as soon as I'm out of sight, she texts that she doesn't know if she can trust me anymore. I love her so damn much, and I know I've messed up more than anyone could ever forgive. She gave me chance after chance for years. I don't deserve even one more, but all I want is to prove to her that I can be better, that I'm getting better. But I see how she zones out, how sadness just falls over her face out of nowhere. And I know it's my fault. She's pulling away, and it kills me. I want to do something, anything, to show her that I'm never going to hurt her again, that I really am working on myself. But deep down, I'm terrified. I'm terrified it's already too late. Update 1. The last few years of my life have been nothing short of a wild ride. I made some painfully stupid decisions, choices I wish I could take back. Those choices hurt Anna, my girlfriend, the person I loved most. She reached her limit with me and laid down an ultimatum: change and become a better person, or she'd never speak to me again. And she meant it. For months, I heard nothing from her. She'd blocked me everywhere, cut me off completely. The silence was unbearable. After about 4 months of grinding through therapy and trying to piece myself together, Anna reached out. She'd run into my sister Jamie at her job, and Jamie had told her about everything I'd been doing. Therapy, working, trying so hard to be better, not for her, but for myself and, most importantly, for our son. Anna was shocked. She told me she never thought I'd get my act together. Seeing her genuinely proud of me was something I hadn't expected. We started counseling together, worked through some of our history, and Anna set some clear boundaries. I agreed to every last one. For a while, our relationship was strictly about coparenting and, at best, a friendship. I could feel her watching me, evaluating, seeing if I was really committed to changing for good. Fast forward to the end of January, Anna's birthday. I gave her flowers, just a simple gesture, and she caught me off guard by kissing me and thanking me. I truly thought our romantic relationship was long gone. I'd convinced myself I was just bettering myself for our son. But she told me she still loved me. That changed everything. It hit me, I still loved her, too. When she and I got back together, I told my family. At first, everyone seemed genuinely happy for me. My mom was actually excited, wanting to spend time with Anna, telling me she loved her. Jamie and Anna became close friends. My older sister Scarlett started sending us bundles of baby clothes, diapers, and all sorts of random things just to help. Jenny, my other sister, constantly asked for pictures, our son, Anna's daughter from her previous relationship, anything she could see. Even my dad stepped in, teaching Anna to drive. Then, recently, Anna's apartment flooded. A pipe burst in the apartment next to hers and the water leaked right into her place. She needed somewhere to stay while her complex fixed the damage. Without hesitation, my mom offered our house, a gesture that felt genuinely caring. Anna agreed, and we joked about this being a trial run for living together. Anna was in our home for a week. Every morning, she woke early, made breakfast for everyone, laid it out, then cleaned up all the dishes. She cleaned our room. She did everyone's laundry after work. She didn't just dump it in a pile, she folded it neatly. Dinner? She handled that, too. My mom seemed to love having her around. Or at least, that's what I thought. 3 nights ago, everything changed. I overheard my mom speaking negatively about Anna in Spanish, thinking Anna couldn't understand her. She was lying to Jenny, calling Anna untidy and lazy. Jenny joined in, criticizing Anna's appearance and calling her unattractive. They mocked Anna's weight and her braided hair. Anna is half black and loves wearing her hair braided. They even made hurtful comments about how pale she is, as if she wasn't black enough. The worst part? They doubted whether our son was even mine. He is. Hearing them say those things unleashed a fury in me I didn't know I had. I stormed into the room, called my mother a liar to her face, called out Jenny for her disgusting attitude. Jamie and her husband were there. They immediately sided with me, furious at our mom and Jenny's behavior. The house erupted into an argument. In the middle of this, Anna came home. Jenny, classic coward, hung up the phone. My mom just sat there in silence. Anna, confused and worried, asked what was happening, so I told her. I spilled everything. I will never forget the look on Anna's face. I could see her spirit shatter right then. She loved my family, believed she belonged. She didn't say a word, just walked straight into our room and started packing. I followed her and began packing up my own things, grabbing the essentials. As we packed, I could hear Jamie screaming at my mother down the hall. Anna finished packing and walked out, silent, waiting by the car. As I was leaving, I heard Scarlett on the phone, defending my mom. I walked out of my room and told them I'd be coming back for the rest of my things eventually, but after this, I wanted nothing to do with them, the only exception being Jamie. It's been 3 days. Jamie called, telling me I was being too harsh for completely cutting everyone off. But I don't feel like I am. I just can't imagine ever subjecting Anna, myself, or our kids to that kind of hate again. Am I really the asshole here? Update 2. I spent hours searching for the perfect gifts, determined to create the ultimate care package for her. I picked up her favorite Lush bath bombs and lotions, indulging the scents I knew she loved. I grabbed Sour Punch straws and Almond Joys, her ultimate candy weakness. I remembered how she had once casually mentioned a specific makeup palette he'd wanted, so I made sure to include that, hoping it would make her smile. Bath & Body Works was next. I hunted down her 2 favorite body sprays, the ones she raved about all the time. I wanted to go even further, especially after what happened between my family and her. She's been through so much because of them. Knowing her AirPods were acting up, I splurged on a new set, hoping the gesture would show just how much I care. I tossed in a few pairs of her favorite black leggings. She basically lives in them, and I knew she'd appreciate the comfort. Then I thought about the stress she'd been carrying. She rarely smokes anymore, but those recent arguments had her wound up tighter than I'd ever seen. So, for the first time in my life, I sat in front of YouTube tutorials and learned how to roll joints and blunts. I added some pre-rolls to the basket, as a backup for when she might need to fully relax, no questions asked. Turns out, I was right. That night, she picked out one of the blunts I'd rolled, lit it up, and then raided the basket for every last piece of candy. Watching her finally unwind, just for a moment, made every bit of effort worth it. Update 3. Lately, I've been feeling this growing distance between my girlfriend Anna and me. I can't shake the sense that it all started when I let my sister, Jamie, back into my life. There was history there. Anna and Jamie used to be friends, but the truth is, Jamie has always been fake. She actually admitted to me that she'd been pretending around Anna, and confessed to saying some pretty vicious things behind her back. It wasn't just her either. Jamie's husband had a share of cruel words aimed at Anna too. For a few months, I distanced myself from Jamie. I stopped talking to her altogether. But as time went on, I started to miss having my sister in my life. It gnawed at me, and eventually, I reached out to Jamie and tried to reconnect, thinking maybe things could just go back to normal. Anna's reaction was explosive. She unleashed a furious rant, telling me I was enabling my fake bitch of a sister. In her eyes, I'd proven that Jamie could get away with treating people terribly and I'd just find excuses for her because she's family. Anna accused me of being disrespectful, not just to her, but to the idea of basic human decency. She said Jamie wasn't only fake, she was downright cruel, and that if I wanted to be in Jamie's life, I was choosing someone who continually hurt her. Anna told me Jamie owed her a huge apology, but I know my sister. She isn't going to apologize, and I was honest with Anna about that. Now, Anna barely speaks to me. She says she's lost respect and trust for me. I feel caught in the middle, just wishing for a way to keep the peace without hurting either of them. Jamie is my sister, and no matter what, cutting her out entirely doesn't feel like an option. But watching Anna pull away from me hurts even more than I expected. I keep wondering if there's any way to make both relationships work, but right now, it feels like no matter what I do, someone I care about ends up betrayed. Update 4. My birthday is today, and I had been looking forward to a special dinner that my girlfriend, Anna, was supposed to pay for. Last night, out of nowhere, she told me she wasn't sure if she could actually cover the dinner. Let me give you some context. Anna is a mom to 2 kids. Just about a month ago, her ex stirred up a whole mess by calling CPS on her, making up false accusations because she refused to do his bidding. She managed to have the case dismissed, since the allegations were proven false, but the investigation put her through hell. She had to miss work several times and, ultimately, lost her job over all the missed days. Anna had about $1,500 saved up right before this happened. When she still had her job, we talked about how she would pay for my birthday dinner, and I'd pitch in for the hotel room and other things for the celebration. So, last night I asked her if she could handle dinner, since it was our plan. That's when she told me she wasn't sure she could. Turns out, she'd had to dip into her savings. She spent $700 on medical care and school supplies for her oldest, A, who's 4, since her ex bailed at the last minute and refused to help. She got everything herself. On top of that, she had to buy 2 new tires for her car and cover her share of the rent. When she looked at her account, she realized she probably only had $100 left over, not counting groceries. She hesitantly asked if $100 would be enough for dinner. I told her it wouldn't be. I'd planned everything around this special place I had in mind, and I felt frustrated and disappointed. I told her, in that moment, that I'd just spend my birthday with a friend instead, and that I'd see her when I saw her. She ended up sending me the $100 anyway, telling me to have fun, but since then, she hasn't said a word to me or responded to any of my messages. Now I'm sitting here on my birthday feeling like I seriously messed up. Update 5. Well, to the surprise of absolutely no one, Anna left me. She didn't speak a single word to me for the rest of my birthday. The next morning when I came home from work, it hit me like a truck. Her things and the kids' stuff were gone. The house felt gutted, hollow. She left a note that said my birthday was her last straw. The words were searing. My lack of empathy for what she's been dealing with had revealed my true colors, she said, and made her realize that I was emotionally abusive and emotionally unstable. I tried to send her money back, but when I opened Cash App to do it, I realized she'd blocked me. She blocked me everywhere, in every possible way. She even told all her friends to ignore me if I reached out. Our mutual friends acted like they'd been sworn to secrecy. They wouldn't tell me anything. When I asked if someone could check on her and the kids to make sure they were safe, they told me, unanimously, to leave her alone and just let her go. Even Nate, my best friend, who always liked Anna, maybe even more than me sometimes, told me it was for the best, and to let her go, that maybe she'd find some happiness now. That stung more than I wanted to admit, but he's right. I didn't treat her how she deserved. And now I've lost her, and both the kids, who were everything to me. A, who's 4, isn't my daughter by blood, but I loved her like I loved my son, L, who's 2. Anna is the primary parent for both, so while I'm angry she took L with her, I get it. I just hate myself for not being a better man before it was too late, for not growing into the man she deserved. After a while, I managed to get in touch with her mom, Jessica. Jessica agreed to let me see the kids at her house tomorrow afternoon. Anna wouldn't be there, and that hurts, but I miss the kids more than anything. Jessica didn't exactly roll out the red carpet, but she was civil, polite, even. She told me she was disappointed in me. She said she thought I'd made a lot of progress, and honestly, hearing that hurt in a way almost nothing else could. I know I need help, so I'm planning to go back into therapy. I've heard people saying that I'm going behind Anna's back to see the kids. I'm not. Jessica reached out to me after hearing from several people that I was asking about the kids. She said Anna agreed I could see them, especially since A kept asking when I would come and play with her again. The arrangement was clear. I could visit, but Anna didn't want to see me. She started a new job yesterday, so the timing works. Jessica looks after the kids while Anna's working. I don't know why anyone would think I'd be sneaky about seeing them. Some people are assuming I don't care about the kids, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Right now, I actually miss them more than I miss Anna. Even if she never forgives me, I want to do right by those kids. Even A, even though she's not mine. And for all the speculation, people assuming Anna's portion of the rent was paid to me, it wasn't. She was over at my place a lot, but she always had her own apartment. I pay for most of my son's expenses, and some of A's too, even though Anna's the primary parent since I work more. People talk about the tires and school supplies for A, like I just refuse to help. But she never mentioned any of that to me, not until my birthday. She's the sort who'll just handle things herself, never asking for help, suffering in silence. If she'd simply told me or asked, I would have helped. That's the kind of person she is, and it makes this all the more painful. I know I'm an asshole. I'm not debating that. I just wish people would get the story straight. The thing that makes a deadbeat parent is abandoning their kids just because things didn't work out with their partner. I have no intention of doing that. I have sent money regularly for Elle and will keep doing it. I plan to see the kids whenever she lets me. I won't make it worse by abandoning them too. Update 6. I've been traveling with Peach for 2 weeks now. Right before we left, Peach couldn't resist buying a plastic tiara, because, as she reasoned, a princess has to have a tiara, no matter the occasion. When she popped it on her head, I was doubled over in laughter for a solid 5 minutes before I could even start the car. We hadn't even hit the road, and already, this adventure was shaping up to be unforgettable. Traveling can be unpredictable, though. Sometimes you just have to roll with what you get, like the first night when we could only find a single motel room. Twin beds, sure, but still, just one room. No boundaries crossed. Except, well, Peach did sneakily record me snoring. She thought it was hilarious, and I had to admit, hearing myself made me laugh, too. We work for different companies, and our current projects couldn't be less related. But there are some skills, little techniques, that overlap. Let me tell you, this girl is a bona fide genius. Peach showed me a trick that will not only make my work faster but way more efficient. I was genuinely impressed. But then I uncovered a shocking secret about her: she actually likes pineapple on pizza. That's practically at the top of my personal list of culinary felonies. I stared at her in disbelief, questioning everything I thought I knew. Of course, it's not all sunshine and perfect agreement on this trip. We had an argument. Honestly, the details aren't important anymore. While I can be the stubborn mule, opting to drive in silence convinced I'm right, Peach takes a different approach. After about 20 minutes of quiet, she started telling me a story. At first, I only half listened, but as she spun her tale, I realized it was a thinly veiled metaphor for our disagreement. By the end, I saw her viewpoint completely. Once I'd calmed down, I could tell her my side, too. We still disagreed, but we understood and respected each other's perspectives. All of this just cemented one thing for me: I've already made up my mind. I'm traveling with Peach for as long as I possibly can. And, a small update about my ex-wife: she landed a new job that's truly going to change her life. She genuinely deserves this. It's right in the field she studied for, and during the interview, she was upfront about her time as a stay-at-home wife. That honesty meant she had to go through a probationary period, with training and several courses, and her performance would determine if she got a contract. She absolutely nailed it. Now she's got a full-time, high-paying job. I might have helped open a few doors for her, but she's the one who had the courage and drive to actually walk through them. Update 7. 3 weeks into traveling with Peach, and I thought I had everything figured out. Then my phone rang at 2 a.m. in some forgettable motel outside Denver. It was my ex-wife. Crying. I almost didn't answer. We'd been keeping things friendly but distant since she got her new job. But something in my gut told me this wasn't a casual call. Peach stirred in the bed next to mine, mumbling something about the noise. "I'm pregnant," were the first words out of my ex's mouth. The room went dead silent. I sat up, fully awake now, trying to process what I'd just heard. "That's... congratulations?" I managed, genuinely confused why she was calling me at 2 a.m. to share this news. "You don't understand," she whispered. "I need to tell you something about the affair I mentioned when you left. The timing. It was right before your accident. Right before we stopped." She trailed off. My blood went cold. I did the math in my head: 5 years since I left, but the accident was 8 months before that. If she was telling me what I think she was telling me. "How far along are you?" I asked, my voice barely steady. 20 weeks. I just found out it's a boy. 20 weeks. 5 months. Which would put conception right around when I was back home, right around those gatherings where we'd been talking on balconies and hugging goodbye. "Jesus Christ," I whispered, running my hand through my hair. "Are you saying..." "I don't know," she cut me off. "I honestly don't know. The timeline. It could be from that night. You remember, after that party at Mike's place? We both had too much to drink, and you walked me back to my apartment, and..." I remembered. God help me, I remembered. One stupid, drunk mistake after months of keeping things cordial. We'd both agreed the next morning that it meant nothing, that it was just nostalgia and alcohol. "I need a paternity test," I said. "I know, but I'm scared." "What if..." I hung up before she could finish. My hands were shaking. Peach was fully awake now, sitting up in her bed. "Everything okay?" I looked at her, sweet, brilliant Peach with her plastic tiara sitting on the nightstand and her infectious laugh that had become the soundtrack to my days. "How do you tell someone you've been falling for that your ex-wife might be pregnant with your child?" "I need to tell you something," I said. So I did. Everything: the drunken night, the call, the timeline that made everything uncertain. Peach listened without interrupting, her expression unreadable in the dim light from the parking lot outside. When I finished, she was quiet for a long time. "What are you going to do?" she finally asked. "I have to go back. I have to know." She nodded slowly. "Okay. Peach, this doesn't change." "Stop," she said gently. "Let's just figure this out one step at a time. 2 days later, we were driving back toward my hometown instead of continuing west like we'd planned. The mood in the car was different, not hostile, but careful. Like we were both holding our breath. My ex met us at a clinic. Seeing her with the small bump under her shirt made everything feel suddenly, impossibly real. Peach waited in the car while I went in for the test. Results in 48 hours, the technician said cheerfully, as if she hadn't just potentially turned my entire life upside down. That night, in another anonymous motel, Peach and I barely spoke. She was working on her laptop, and I was staring at the ceiling, wondering how I'd gone from feeling free for the first time in years to potentially being tied to my ex-wife forever through a child I wasn't sure was mine. You know, Peach said quietly, not looking up from her screen, whatever happens, you're going to be okay. How can you be so sure? She finally looked at me, because I've watched you handle everything else. Your divorce, your accident, starting over completely. You figure things out. And us? She closed her laptop and was quiet for so long I thought she'd fallen asleep. Ask me again after we get the results, she whispered. The next morning brought another curveball. My phone had 3 missed calls from an unknown number and a voicemail that made my stomach drop. This is Detective Morrison with the County Sheriff's Office. We need to speak with you regarding your ex-wife. Please call back immediately. Turns out, her new boyfriend, the one she'd supposedly been dating when she got pregnant, had been arrested for domestic violence against his previous girlfriend. When they searched his place, they found evidence suggesting he'd been tracking my ex's movements, including photos of her taken without her knowledge. The pregnancy suddenly took on a darker context. Had she been lying about the timeline to protect herself? Or was she genuinely confused about paternity because she'd been with both of us around the same time? Peach and I drove straight to the police station, where I learned that my ex had been granted an emergency restraining order. She was scared, alone, and pregnant, possibly with my child. I can't just leave her like this, I told Peach as we sat in the parking lot afterward. She nodded, but I could see something breaking behind her eyes. I know, she said simply. The results came back the next day. I am the father. Everything I thought I knew about my life, about my freedom, about my future with Peach, all of it changed with one phone call from a lab technician who delivered life-altering news like she was reading the weather. I sat in that motel parking lot, holding my phone, watching Peach through the window as she packed her things. She'd already booked a flight home. I'm not running away from you, she said when I finally went back inside. But you need to figure out what kind of father you want to be, and you can't do that with me here complicating things. Peach, I care about you. More than I should. But that little boy is going to need his dad, and his dad needs to have his head on straight. She kissed me goodbye at the airport. Not a romantic kiss, but not just friendly either. Something in between, full of possibility and regret. Find me when you've figured it all out, she said. And then she was gone, leaving me alone with the biggest decision of my life. What kind of man, and what kind of father, did I want to be? The road was still calling, but now it was leading somewhere I'd never planned to go.